Good day, everyone. All right, let me get this link shared out. And we'll see what happens here in the New York Open. Just sharing the link out on Twitter. Give everyone a couple minutes to get in here. You just cut a partial stop loss on a long. Bitcoin is grinding up here, threatening an impulse. We're going to take a look at order flow. There are some interesting levels below as we head into the New York Open in about 30 minutes. Just on the very low time frames, that'll look like coming and running all this liquidity, a little bit of consolidation here, retesting some horizontals for another leg to the upside. We have a point of control here in a 382. We need to break down this ascending structure for that to become relevant. I would like to trade this for a partial TP into these highs and carry the rest as a potential swing trade higher. There is a scenario that we could look for a move back down into this, which would also be an interesting level. So these are the two levels I'm interested in trading at support. Somebody's saying that the live stream stop. I hope not. Somebody's saying, for God's sake, fix your noise, your mic noise. It has static and the volume's too low. Well, the volume is turned up as high as I can turn it up. Or my mic feed is. Maybe I can talk closer to the mic. I have no idea what's going on. Somebody's just saying the live stream is really laggy. Somebody's saying refresh and it's fine. Others are saying it's good. All right, anyways, let's take a look at order flow really quickly. For a local high, as we're chopping into these highs here, pretty anticlimactic in terms of volume and delta. 1.6 million, 76K, 1.5 million negative delta, 1.7 million delta. A little bit of delta here, 4.8 million, followed by 5.8 million. Just choppy, low volume. There's a pretty good case to be made for if we see strong continuation. We can take a look at a few examples really quickly. Looking for longs on all of these types of setups. I want to go to a couple examples here. But if we do see a strong continuation out of this move, looking for something like this, We have impulses, local lows, they get swept, and longing the sweeps of those local ranges. Let's just go back here. So those are the setups I'm looking at. We have 260 million negative delta divergence in this range, which is pretty wild. Technically, we could call this a breakout as well of the of this daily candle high. We have a series of daily candles here. I'm going to clean up the chart a little bit, re-pull some levels, just to establish where everything's being pulled from. We'll just re-pull everything. If I can delete this. So we have these daily candle highs. We have this daily candle high. So far breaking out of both. Two major pivot highs above us, which are going to be worth watching. But what I wouldn't mind seeing, so we can see here, price has broken out, retested, and we were grinding up into really impulsive looking price action until this latest rejection. But we have a couple important levels here, and that's the point of control. There's a 382 around there. Some more horizontal levels. It's also approximately the middle of the range, if we want to call this a range. 3 levels all tied together here. What would I like to see? I want to go down to the lowest of time frames just to be able to see these wicks here aligned with the middle of the range. That's this dotted line. Well, if we come and take all these lows, I'd like to see a pretty quick reaction out of them where you have the 382, and if we have a high delta sweep of the lows and a reaction, I'm going to fire off that long. Could argue that this uptrend is still relevant though. Just this local, it's kind of breaking here. But this sweep into the New York Open would look quite nice for a long setup. I was asleep when these lows all got taken. We had a little bit of a bearish divergence forming here, and so I had a couple longs running into this move. I actually added to this long here, but I put all my stops to break even when I went to sleep. There was some absorption happening here, and took 1.5R profits off of the longs, and woke up to this. Looks like quite a few people in the Discord from the chat I was reading got some really nice long setups off these lows. Quite a nice tight invalidation setup. But alas, I was asleep. So let's just go to XO really quick. The divergence I'm talking about between all 3 of these equal lows here is at 266 million negative delta towards the equal lows. So this is probably the biggest single divergence in a local range, bullish divergence we've seen in, I don't even want to say many months, it might be longer considering the time frame on the divergence. So that's something to consider, that we're coming off of a major bullish divergence with a major impulse. I was looking at some fractals for some ranging ideas here, and I think those could still be in play. We'll see what happens at these local highs. And so the way I'm going to be trading this is I'm going to be trading aggressively into local levels on signs of strength, taking partial profits, and trying to build a swing position long, but protecting myself in the case of a range. Somebody says that the issue... Oh, somebody said that a couple things. Somebody said the issue with the stream is the app. If you go onto the desktop version of YouTube, it seems to have helped. And somebody else saying the static noise on my feed might be because the mic is turned up too high, or the static. So I'm going to try turning the mic down and talking louder. Maybe that will get rid of the static. You guys can let me know if that helps. Apparently that's better. All right, nice. Apparently it's better. 15 minutes to the New York Open, price moving down into these lows. So let's just mark out this idea as a range, coming and taking these lows into this level here. Again, there's a bit of a region, point of control 382. Looking for a reaction, sign of strength. We'll put on the long. And the other scenario, of course, is just price coming all the way back down into this impulse low, which is aligned with this level, and taking that liquidity. Could also put in a lower high. But anyways, I think this is a nice local level to watch. Put on a trade. If we get a nice reaction, pull the risk off of it. Can probably even look to bring the stop up. Potentially a head short on another sweep of this high, targeting this low. Somebody says, can't hear me at all. I want to say that there typically hasn't been audio issues or stream issues. All right. Someone says I can hear you perfectly. I'm going to stop addressing it because it seems to be a bit of a mixed review there. Worth noting, we're coming into the weekend as well, which can make ranging a little more likely. So like I said, I'm going to treat this as a local setup for my TP1. Remove the risk or get stopped out. And then look for this level if we just break straight through. It might look something like this. And this is a rough idea for what this trade is going to look like. I'm going to see how price interacts with some of this structure. So the entry might come lower. Just a general idea, knowing there's a few levels here. somebody asking if I got stopped out of my longs. I did. I had a partial TP. But yeah, last night I had 2 longs running. And before I went to sleep, I said a large short closing, some absorption. I'm going to pull 1.5 hour risk off these longs and set stops to entry. See where we are in the morning. And I was stopped out on the rest at entry. I should note that we actually did have some bearish absorption forming on this lower high. So this was a ad I was interested in. I was long from here, interested in this, but we did end up forming some bearish absorption into the sell-off, which was arguably a news-driven catalyst. But interesting to see some of this aggressive buying pressure here coming in before the sell-off. 4.6 million decrease in open interest, 5.5 million, 2.7 million, some ranging, some bearish divergences into the sell-off. I mean, order flow is pretty uninspiring at these highs, I would say. Especially after such a strong move up. Couple questions. Somebody says, are you bearish after having medium term? Somebody says, what do I think happens with the halving? I'm not even thinking about it. I don't think it is. I mean, I don't see how it's going to be too relevant. I'm just going to trade levels. I would say this, that I mean, we have massive bullish divergences forming here. Certainly could keep ranging. But I went over these fractals yesterday. They don't look as good with the triple bottom. Again, let me just clean up this chart a little bit. But if we follow them generally, I kind of re-pulled them and realigned them a little bit, thinking about this as this price action, for example, the time frame of them. But anyways, both of these fractals suggest a range and then a grind back down into the lows before another move to the upside. I'd say that would be kind of surprising with the order flow, but we've had this bullish divergence forming in here massively this entire range, and we have still found a way to range. I think obviously something like this and then just a grind down into these lows would probably wreck a lot of people, a choppy downtrend. But I think just looking at this as a range is the way to go. Looking at this as potential continuation to the highs of the range. Longing retracements. If we just rotate back to the lows of the range here, that'd be kind of nasty, I think, from a liquidity perspective. Yeah, just looking at order flow here. We haven't really taken any major liquidity to the upside. I'm going to remove this. I'll just mark it out. Really, because this is a region, could also be looking to long reclaims of this. And if longing down here on a low time frame, need to consider retest of this for local resistance. But my plan is to scalp some low time frame ideas. New York Open in 7 minutes. There's no guarantee we'll take these lows either, by the way, but right now it's looking pretty good. Should go without saying that both of these highs are very important resistance. We have a descending trend line here, which actually did form a pretty clean parallel channel into this low. And so pushing up and retesting this level over the weekend is a short I'd be interested in. Sweeping these highs, rejecting, nice confluence with the parallel channel, the 618 of the move. And breaking out of this looks quite bullish, obviously. Again, I'm going to pull off some of these levels just to clean up the chart. And we know that there's levels aligned here. No point in having everything on the chart. Just kind of trying to imagine what a move up into this would look like. That'd be pretty sharp. Well, I'll look into what's going on with the audio. Um, there's continued comments about either static or it's fine or you can't hear, but there's nothing I can do about it now. So hopefully it's fine. New York open in 3 minutes. The setup's going to probably look something like this. But marketing in if there's a clean reaction. Yeah, as far as the halving goes, you know, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if there's volatility the hour the halving happens. I mean, people are obviously super interested in it, and so any price action, whether price is going down or going up, I would imagine people will read a lot into it and probably see some high volume, high volatility price action. I wouldn't be surprised anyways. But it's quite hard to make a case for why the moment of the halving matters at all. It doesn't change anything fundamentally. It's not a surprise to anyone that it's coming. Yeah, the more annoying outcome here would just be chopping around into the New York Open. It's always possible. Should note that Bitcoin dominance still just looks incredibly bullish while this is still holding above this level. All right, well, there's the open. So maybe the next 30 minutes or so could be interesting. Obviously, we have taken some local lows, but nothing compelling happening here from an order flow perspective. I would just say that's, to me, just neutral. Like, this was kind of interesting when we took this local low with 7.4 million negative delta several hours ago. But nothing particularly bearish, nothing particularly bullish locally. And price sort of trading in the middle of a range. yeah, a little annoying. I got partial TPs on everything, but a little annoying. Like I had a nice Doge long from here. Just a ton of stuff stopped at entry. Waking up to a big impulse. And waking up to a bunch of people in the Discord saying that they long the bottom of everything. But super important not to get too distressed about missing trades and making unreasonable decisions. So we can just go to any moment on the chart, and even in these strong uptrends, there are opportunities to get long off local setups. And oftentimes, like we can look back at some of the triple bottom type price action that we've seen in the past. You know, it'd be super easy to feel like, let's just call this I'll move it over, but feel like you've missed all your long opportunities here. Let's just say you were sidelined. Only have price come back and range and retest the lows, right? Let's drag this fractal all the way back over. I went back and looked at all of our triple bottom type ideas. This wasn't quite a triple bottom. Something like this would be a lot of FOMO up here if we didn't have any major retracements. Wow. It's the the chat is quite funny because at the same time there's people saying audio is fine, it's fine for me, and then people saying the stream is dead and it's cutting out. I have no idea what's going on. A few people have said refreshing it makes it work. I'm not sure if that's the case. This is kind of interesting. A little bit of volume here, some positive delta. Let's take a look at IBIT. So we could get a move down off of this. A little bit of liquidity tapped, a little bit of absorption. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on, guys. With the live stream. You know what I might do? I might might end the live stream and restart it. And see if I can change some settings or something. Maybe there's a setting I can change to make it less laggy. Yeah, let me end the live stream. If you're in here, I'm just going to re-share the link in the Discord. I'll drop it on Twitter too. Let me see if I can fix a setting or something. All right, I'll be right back.